Boys, we're back for another exciting episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And I am pumped for this week's guest because I know the guy. And not only do I know him, I finally got the chance to meet him and spend some time with him last week in Naples. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And if you're watching at home or you're listening on iTunes and Google Play, do me a favor, click the subscribe button. I just want to make sure you get this content. The subscribe button on YouTube, click it, but then right next to it, there's a little bell. Click that too. Turn on notifications. That way, every time this episode hits on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., you get an email. Very easy. You don't even have to go look for it. It's that easy. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and follow along. Tonight, we're talking about hole-in-ones. I'm not going to get too into the fact that I don't have one. I've almost had like 7, but almost doesn't count. So I don't want to be, I'm a little bitter about it, but this guy has nothing to do with that. So maybe I should learn how to hit better golf shots. But we're talking about hole-in-ones tonight. And this guy works for a company, Hole-in-One U.S.A. And I could tell you what he does. And based on what I saw, he's got a pretty cool gig. He's a marketing director for this company and basically stands on tee boxes and watch people hit golf shots is what I can tell. But he does a lot more than that. We'll talk about all of that tonight. But let's get Andrew Workman on the show. Welcome to the hashtag Wednesday Match Play, bud.
Thank you, Ricky. Very, very happy to be here.
Awesome. Give me an overview. What's the company like? What do you do? What's your role look like? How long have you been with the company? Like, pretend that I have no idea who you are or what you do. Give me the elevator pitch of who you are and what you do with this company.
So the company started in 1991 by my boss, David Nelson. He's a CPA by trade and a very enthusiastic amateur golfer. He's played in every single USGA championship except for the US Senior Open. I mean, the the 4-ball, everything. He's done it. So he took his passion for golf and his CPA industry and got into hole-in-one business. So years later, I started the company 5 years ago. Been a great place for me to be ever since then. We started to have a lot more partnerships with the PGA sections themselves. And like you say, through our partnerships, we're able to travel around to the country to these different partners and go to their events and stand on the tee box and watch a lot of people swing. We'll see a lot of good swings, see a lot of bad swings, but we get to travel around and meet a lot of people, and that is a great part of the job.
That's really cool. And you were looking at a lot of swings during Troon Cup, so that was fun for you to come down here for that event. And I know that you're involved in a lot of Troon properties and have been in a lot of events. So let's say I'm hosting an event. Let's just call it hashtag the Oven 19 Invitational for sake of argument. Wink, wink. Well, how do I get hole-in-one involved? Like, what's the process? Is there a fee for it? Does it depend on what we're giving away? Kind of what's that look like from an event promoter perspective?
From the event promoter perspective, it's real simple to get a hole-in-one involved. The 3 variables that go into it are the number of golfers that are going to be playing the event, the length of the par 3 hole you want to have the main prize on, and the value of the main prize. So taking those 3 variables, and the type of golfers definitely plays into it. If it's an all-amateur field, it's real simple. When it becomes a pro-am, club pros get involved, the pricing becomes a little more difficult. And when tour pros get involved, it definitely gets a lot more expensive because the tour pros are a lot better. There's basically a hole-in-one every single weekend on the PGA Tour. But if it's just an all-amateur event, which 95% of all events are all amateur events, it's real simple. You can call us up, we can get involved. You give us the number of golfers you have, the value you want to have, and we'll usually send you a quick quote with everything you need on it. And it's if you wanted to get a sponsor involved too, it's a really great opportunity. If you're planning an outside event, like if you're planning the Oven 19, you'd want to put out there a sponsor for the hole-in-one contest. And if our hole-in-one contest is going to cost you $300, definitely put the sponsorship out there for $500, $600. So no matter what, you're making a quick profit right away. And then all the golfers in your tournament are also getting a good experience.
So that a logarithm, is it a logarithm, or is there someone that actually sits there and figures out what that price is? Or, what's kind of the technology behind the scenes for that?
It's very, very, very minimal technology. A long time ago, I'm pretty sure that someone did a logarithm for every single variable possible. We have a book that has every single pricing we could want in it, pretty much. Okay. We go to the page that has 100 golfers, scroll across to the yardage you want to play from, and go down to the price, and that's what it is.
That's awesome. Very cool. Almost too simple. Now, you were here for Troon Cup. That's a tough hole. I tend to take not enough club and go left because I swing too hard. That's a tough hole. Who hit it the closest? Anybody get close to an ace?
The second day, there was a guy that got it about 5 feet. I'm drawing a blank right now on his name, but I mean, you need to be able to hit a longer or actually a shorter iron into it because it's a longer hole. Because the way they had the pin set up was on the right-hand side, right over the edge of a bunker. And if you don't have the trajectory coming in, you're not going to get the ball to stop, especially since you guys got the greens firm and fast there getting ready for the CME Globe.
So now let's say you get 2 hole-in-ones, 3 hole-in-ones, or does it stop at 1? Well, I mean, you talk about, some of these events, depending on the length of the hole, you could get a couple of hole-in-ones in the same event, maybe. Does it stop at 1? I mean, are you done if somebody gets one on the first group?
Most of our coverage is the first hole-in-one wins on the main prize hole. On the secondary prize holes, the smaller holes, the $750 cash or the Titleist irons, it's always as many hole-in-ones as possible. They keep getting the prizes. But on the bigger prize, we ensure the first hole-in-one only. And in almost 30 years of doing business, we've had 2 hole-in-ones on the main prize twice.
So is the guy that gets the second one mad, or does he just,
Usually the event will either split the prize between them. Obviously, if it's a car or something like that, they can't split a car. But we'll always make sure they don't walk away empty-handed. We're going to get them a set of irons. We're going to get them an iPad. We might get them a full set of clubs. We're not going to let them walk away with a bad taste in their mouth because they hit a hole-in-one second.
I mean, quite frankly, I'd be okay with it. Just buy me a cocktail. We'll be good. So you have a bunch of golf partners listed on the website and auto partners. So tell me a little bit more about the partners and how they work with you and the organization.
So one of our first partnerships that we started was Toyota Lexus. And we've had their partnership for over 20 years. So basically every Toyota Lexus dealer in the country is able to give us a call, and they get a preferred pricing because they're a partner. And then for a lot of the dealership partners, they are able to do monthly billing on their hole-in-one contest. So instead of having to pay every single tournament, for a one-off tournament like a charity event, it's not that hard. There's only one event a year. But a lot of these dealers have 5, 6 events in a month. It's hard to cut a check every single time. It's easier just to get the monthly bill at the end of the month. So Toyota Lexus is our longest running partnership. We also have auto partners with Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, which is Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Fiat, and then Honda, Acura, EMO. And then we also have some regional auto dealers associations like the Michigan Auto Dealers Association and the Minnesota Auto Dealers Association. So it's great partnerships. When most people think of a hole-in-one contest at an event, they think of, hey, I win a new car. And it's true. Probably about 80% of our business is through dealerships. We also have a lot of golf industry partners because without golf courses, we wouldn't have hole-in-one contests. And so we've grown our partnerships with the PGA sections. We're partners with 20 of the 41 PGA sections. We just need that one more to get to the 50% mark, but we're close. And we also have one partnership still remaining with a golf association, the Southern California Golf Association. When we first started partnerships with golf associations, we did golf associations as well as PGA sections. And while the golf associations, the state golf associations do a lot for amateur golf, they're usually not the ones that are setting up a lot of the hole-in-one contest. It's the PGA professionals, the ones at the golf courses that get the information into the hands. They are the experts in the game and business of golf. So we want to make sure they have the business information, so they're experts in hole-in-one coverage too.
So this is a rumor, and this just came up because you talked about the car, and you can set the record straight. If I get a hole-in-one on a hole and I win a car, do I have to pay the tax for that car? Is that how that works, or does the insurance take care of that for me as the golfer?
It depends on the dealership. Some dealerships calculate into the cost of their coverage the tax, title, and license. Other dealerships, the winner is responsible for it. Most of the time, I would say that the winner is responsible for tax, title, and license. Just like the Powerball winner is not winning all 1.8 billion, whatever it was.
I don't think the lottery is real, but that's a conversation for a totally different episode of this show. So,
you have a better chance of hitting a hole-in-one.
And I've been close 7 times, and I don't play the lottery. So you're right, I do. Does the hole have to be a certain distance to count?
The minimum yardage, the magic number is generally 135 yards. The underwriter usually wants to be 135 or longer. That's also going to be the most expensive coverage. The event, the sponsor, whoever's paying for the coverage, gets a price break at 150 yards, 165 yards, and 200 yards. The main goal for any tournament is to find a yardage that's going to give the sponsor the best price and the golfer the best chance. So 165 is generally the most used yardage.
So you talked about the guy that started the company. Tell me a little bit more about the other members of the staff there at Hole-in-One U.S.A.
Well, I mean, a tribute to it being such a great company. Me at 5 years, I'm almost the youngest employee there. There's two that have been there over 20 years with Dave, and then one that's been over there over 10 years. So they've all been around for a very long time. Most of them have a great passion for the game of golf as well. Not as well playing as David is, but you know, golf's a fun game. You can go out and you can shoot 70, you can go out and shoot 120, and you can be happy no matter what.
That's cool. Now, I don't know if I'd be happy at 120, but I'd be real happy at 70. Now, I've seen at basketball games the half-court shot, at hockey games try to score on an NHL goalie. Do you guys work with any other sports besides golf, or is it just golf?
We do work with basically any sport that has probability involved. So if it's a 7-10 split in bowling, if it's the half-court shot in basketball, the field goal from 35 yards on a football field, if you want to land it in the back of a truck to win a truck, you know, that's a whole different thing. There are always these great contests at different sporting events that we do get involved with, and it keeps us a little busy during the wintertime as well. We just insured a rubber duck race where they pour a bunch of ducks into a river and float down, and if the duck that crosses first matches the winning number, you have a winner.
That sounds awesome. Were you there at the finish line?
There's probability involved. You know, it's good, but we're not going to do like a closest to the pin contest where there's a guaranteed winner.
I like that. Now, you have a lot of really good ideas for prizes. Some of them are pretty legit, right? So when a company comes to you and says, hey, we want to do the Hole-in-One USA experience, do they have to pick one of those packages? Can they pick their own, build their own? Kind of what's that look like, and what sort of prizes are the most popular?
I mean, all of our preset packages are usually like a trip for two to Hawaii, a trip to the Super Bowl, those kind of things, a trip to St. Andrews. You know, the golfers really like all the golf vacations. But, yeah, basically anything you want to do, we could do. We do a bunch of cars. We've done a big rig for an event every year. The New Mexico Trucking Association does a big rig. I mean, and those things are like $150,000. They don't come cheap. And so we can ensure basically any value and any prize as long as it has an associated value. If you want to do a trip for two to the moon, you know, you could do it as long as there's a value associated with it.
Wow, now that would be a cool trip. Got a hole-in-one, going to the moon. See you later. Be back on the
I don't know if I'd take it.
I don't know if I would either right now. Now, where can people learn more about you guys, and just kind of use this next segment to just brag about where you can find more information about Hole-in-One USA?
HIOUSA.com. That's HIOUSA.com is our website. It has a lot of our information on there about what we do, the charity events, how you can get involved with that, a lot of our golf partners, PGA partners, auto dealer partners, as well as the people who work at our office. Our parent company is NFP. They're a national insurance company. They also do brokerage and wealth management. But they're NFP.com. You can find a link to their website on our website as well. But definitely have to mention them. It's been a great transition to a larger company and to be able to have a larger footprint across the U.S.
Awesome. Now, that was the front nine. You did good. I think you got a couple of stroke lead here because I know you're a good player. But the back nine, we're going to have some fun, answer some golf questions. I know you're a player, so you ready for the back nine?
Yep.
All right, we're going to play some golf the next time I see you. We have to define, though, how many strokes do I get?
I don't know. The way I've been playing, I have 3 girls, all 5 and under right now, and that's my main handicap.
Don't let them see this until they're older.
Don't get out to the golf course as much as I'd like to. I always bring my clubs with me when I travel, though. So next time I'm down in Naples, I'll definitely have them with me, and definitely have to get out there. We'll maybe do 2 strokes aside. I've seen a couple of your posts. You're shooting 77 with a couple triples on there.
No triples. I bogeyed 2 par 5s. Calm down. Now you're a stick. I don't. You're like the guy that just gets up, gets in the car, drives, gets on the first tee, doesn't even put on golf shoes, and shoots 74. So, how many hole-in-ones do you have?
It's a tough answer.
What? That shouldn't be.
Twice I've hit the ball in the hole in one stroke on a par 3. Neither time has there been anyone else in my group.
Oh, shut up. No way.
First time I did it was at Flagstaff Ranch up in Flagstaff, Arizona. I was working there as an assistant professional. The 7th hole was 154 yard over water. I get up there. I had triple bogey on the par 5 before. Tee it up with a 9-iron, hit it, lands about 2 feet past the hole, a little bit to the right, checks, spins right in the hole. I'm super pumped. I'm looking around trying to find someone who just driving by and saw it. It's right by the front gate of the development too. So I'm like, maybe someone saw it. No,
nothing. Oh no.
So I was very pumped, and I told a couple people, and they're like, "Yeah, right. No, I don't believe you." And
so, that sucks.
Second time I was up in Prescott working with a friend up there at his course at Hacienda, which is now Capitol Canyon Club, I believe, Troon facility.
It is.
I had played his course in the morning and didn't do very well. I was driving back to his house. I was driving right past another course. I was, you know what? I'm going to go hit balls. And I pulled in, and there was no one in the parking lot. I was like, you know what? I might as well just go play golf. So I go out and play. 8th hole, 165 yards, 8-iron. Same thing. 2 feet past the pin, checks, goes in. Oh, I was so angry.
Oh, my God. You have no hole in one.
Like, oh, man. Like, no one's going to believe me.
I don't know what, like, so to that very point, I was playing Tiburon last week. I play every weekend, and whether people want to play with me or they don't, I was on what hole is that? It's on the black course, and it was a wedge. It was like 128 yards. I hit a wedge. It lands literally. I have a picture I should text you. This much to the right of the hole, and I'm like, oh great, it's gonna spin and go in. Watch, it hits, checks, spins, lips out, and I'm like, I'm almost mad that I didn't make the ace. There's nobody on the golf course, so if I made it, same situation, no hole in one doesn't count, right? But hey, you've got one. I know you have two, and that you just gave me another stroke aside is what you just did there.
That was also about 10 years ago.
Now at Troon Cup, I don't like to talk about this, but I saw you drinking Miller Lite. That's too bad because that stuff's terrible. What's your favorite brewery where you are right now? You live out on the West Coast. What's some of your favorite beer where you're at right now?
Great Basin Brewery here in Reno, Nevada. They make a beer called Icky IPA. Do you ever get it out there?
No.
So it's called Icky. It's definitely not icky. It's really good. It's named after our state fossil, the Ichthyosaurus.
No kidding.
Dinosaur.
So there's a brewery here that brews an IPA called Sticky Icky because they utilize a hop that smells like marijuana. So the whole Sticky Icky concept. So that's
we have a lot of dispensaries for that here in the state as well.
I'm surprised you don't have more hops utilized in that capacity then.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Napa, California. My dad worked for Robert Mondavi for the longest time. So I really enjoy wine, but also like the beer. I like the beer with more flavor. Like I say, the Miller Lite's not the number one choice of mine. But I definitely like to sample IPA. IPA would be my favorite out of any type of beer. But
man, I love a good IPA.
A Guinness at the St. James Great Brewery is the best. Can't beat that.
I was just there a few weeks ago, and when he poured the pint, I asked him how old it was, and he said it was roughly 3 hours since it had been tapped. And I'm like, that's pretty good. It was 10:30 in the morning, and I didn't feel a bit bad about it. And funny story, so I'm standing there drinking the beer. I'm looking to the left, Cheryl's looking to the right, and I hear someone say my name, and I'm like, nobody knows me in Ireland. And then they say it again, and I turn. There were members from Tiburon at Guinness. Not only at Guinness, we were in the Gravity Bar at the top of that brewery. It was the most random thing ever. We got a big picture, and I felt bad because it's 10:30 in the morning, and I'm holding a pint of beer, and I'm thinking, so are they. So it wasn't too bad. So it worked out.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Now, who wins the Tiger versus Phil match coming up in a few weeks?
Oh, it's got to be Tiger.
By like 8. Like, there's no way Phil beats him.
You got to think. I was reading an article just earlier this week in Golf World about the three golfers in PGA Tour history that have won more than 10 majors. And it's Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Walter Hagen. What is Tiger at? 13, 14?
14.
14. The next highest active player is Phil with 5.
I didn't realize he had 5.
He's at 3 Masters.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty crazy. That's a huge difference. And you always hear that, if Tiger wasn't around, Phil would have won so many more tournaments. And who knows? You can't rewrite history in that way. But they always had a good rivalry. I wish there was more times on Sunday when they got paired together, just because it's good to see them play together. I'm sure that they're friends all the times they played in Ryder Cups together, as long as they're not paired together.
Tiger, and speaking of the Ryder Cup, he should never play. Just don't even take it. He is the worst Ryder Cup player. He, in my opinion, is the greatest golfer of all time by a long shot, and should never play in a Ryder Cup. Like, good on you. You made it at 42 years old. You look fine. Great. You suck at Ryder Cup competition. Like, point blank.
Yeah, I'm sure that when he was younger and he was just up and coming, it was better because they weren't pitting the best players against him. But anytime he goes out there, it's always the David versus Goliath, and the other side has so much more to prove, and they just have so much more passion for it.
Now, there are a lot of them to choose from. What is your favorite golf movie? Please don't say The Legend of Bagger Vance.
No, I love Tin Cup. Every time it's on, I always watch it. Every time the anniversary of the movie comes up, I always read the stories on Golf Digest, the ridiculous bet that Phil Mickelson did during filming, where he put his elbow against the tree and dropped the ball and then hit a flop shot over the tree and picked up the money before the ball even landed.
That's awesome.
But I mean, it's just such a great movie, and Kevin Costner was, I mean, that was his heyday. He did so many great movies with Field of Dreams and what was the golf movie, or the baseball movie with him, For Love of the Game, where he was the pitcher who pitched the perfect game to end his career. I just think that he did a great job as a golfer in that movie, and as the golfer who's trying to make it on the PGA Tour. He portrayed the driving range pro just perfectly. And one of the best parts I always love seeing is when he goes into the psychiatrist's office and he crosses his leg, his foot across his leg, and you see the bottom of his dress shoes have the spike holes in them.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the office.
I'm writing down For the Love of the Game. I don't know if I've seen that, and I want to. So I'm going to watch that. Hopefully it's on Netflix. Now, you've had to have met some interesting people along the way, standing on tee boxes, watching people trying to make hole-in-ones. Pick your favorite story, your favorite character that you've met. Maybe it's a celebrity that you've met. Who knows? But give me a story about somebody you've met on a par 3 tee box. Well,
probably the best experience I've had on the tee box is number 7 tee box at Pebble Beach. Every year we do the coverage for the Facebook $1 Million Shootout at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And 2 out of the last 3 years, I've had the opportunity to go down there and stand on the tee box and see all the celebrities and watch them interact as they get ready to hit their shots. And it's a very cool environment. I remember the first year, Bill Murray is just a funny guy. He hits his 2 shots, and then he actually took his wedge and just hucked it towards the green. He almost got closer with his wedge than the balls he hit. But it's just you never know what to expect there, and they always just put on a great show. It's they've really got to make it a lot more fluid the way they run it now, where they have 3 or 4 golfers go and then have a little commercial break. But they always usually get a singing artist in there who sings a song or something like that to right before the commercial break, and then they had I think it was Chris Harrison from the Bachelor there, and they had a little tray with the roses on it. People giving funny roses. But Gary McCord is there too, and McCord and Nance just go back and forth the whole time, and it's just a great to see them talking about it.
Speaking of Gary McCord, we were talking about eBay earlier. I just listed a Gary McCord autographed golf ball this morning, just in case you're in the market. So you mentioned you're from Napa. I think beer is substantially better than wine. That's okay. Red if I'm drinking it, Cabernet if I have a choice. What is your favorite wine? And it's got to be from Napa, I would think, right?
It's Napa. It's called Paradox, which if you've heard of Duckhorn?
Mm-hmm.
Duckhorn, what they did for many years is they started to take all their leftover grapes and put it together, and they made it under a different label called Paradox. So it's kind of like the leftovers, and it started gaining notoriety because it's because of all the blend of grapes. It had just different flavors in it. It was more playful, and it's a really, really good wine. It's my wife and I. It's kind of like our wine. We had it, I think, on one of our first dates, and every year on the label, it's a different label. It kind of looks like a postage stamp where it's a different picture of two ducks, like two mallards or something like that, two different types of ducks on the label. So every year is a little bit different, and it's a very cool thing.
I wrote that down too.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I grew up in Napa, and my wife, her uncle was a winemaker in Napa as well. And the vineyard that he owned and lived on before he passed away a few years back is now owned by a different winery called Bialy. And they kind of make the same, the leftover batch, and they call it the party line. So usually when they bottle their vintages, they name them after whatever block of vineyards it came from. So when everything was done, they had leftovers and they put it all together, and it was just called the party line. And the owner's like, stop making the party line taste so good. People want that instead of the propriety stuff.
That's awesome.
It's usually those extra ones, or even one of the most well-known wines in the Napa Valley, one of the usually the most expensive is Opus One. And when it comes down to it, if you read the label on Opus One, you said you're a Cabernet guy. Opus One is a red table wine. That's all it says on the bottle, because they never have enough of a single varietal of grape to call it a certain wine. Because to be Cabernet, it has to be at least 51% Cabernet grapes. And then the rest of it is kind of made up of whatever grapes they have around. But it has to be a majority Cabernet, where Opus One just always says, hey, whatever's growing best right now, we're going to mix it together, see what we can come up with, and it's going to be just our blend. When it comes down to it, when you think of Scotch in that same regard, a lot of people like the blended Scotches better than the single malts because it's always a consistent flavor, where single malts change from year to year, from cask to cask.
Now, everyone watching at home, did you know you were going to learn more about wine than you did golf tonight? Like, I've got notes here. Like, I'm going to go to the liquor store maybe as soon as we're done here because I got to get a bottle of this Paradox. So, that's awesome. To your point about Scotch, I'm a huge Scotch guy. I like bourbon too, but I just went on that same trip where I was in Ireland. We went to Islay, Scotland, so I could drink Laphroaig 10. It was on my bucket list. It was a pain and a process to get there. But I got there. We went to Laphroaig last. It was so funny. We started, and if you've ever been or if you ever go, all the distilleries are within walking distance from like Islay proper. So we started at Ardbeg, unbelievable. Then we went to Lagavulin, unbelievable. We get to Laphroaig. I'm like, yeah, cool, Laphroaig, great. And it was neat. I'm glad that I got to do it. But the quality of the Scotch, maybe my palate was just wrecked, but the quality of the Scotch at the beginning of the day, after the journey to get there, that's another conversation. We should just have like a side series of this show. I don't know what we call it, but my goodness, we just talk about stuff that comes up. But
no, yeah, that's what. Well, shoot, my favorite is Oban, Oban.
Yep, I know that one well.
My favorite Scotch at all. I think there's actually one Scotch that's called Three Wood.
I don't know. It sounds familiar, but I
just like a Fairywood. Like I think that it'd be great to have like a barrel of that for a Hole-in-One prize. But they have it's a Scotch that is matured in 3 different types of wood in 3 different barrels, and then they blend it together. So they call it 3 wood.
Sold. You had me at Scotch, and then you went to Scotch blending.
Yeah. Well, one of the cool things is the bourbon. We actually work a lot with Jack Daniels down in Tennessee, and they put up a barrel of Scotch, either Gentleman Jack or just classic Jack Daniels as a hole-in-one prize at a lot of events down there in Nashville. And it's kind of different to see those events. I met one of the partners with Troon from Trinchero Winery out of the Troon Cup, and mentioned to him about that, and said, hey, maybe a barrel of wine might be a good hole-in-one prize, or a case of wine every month for a year. It'd be kind of cool. When we talked about hole-in-one prizes earlier, anything you can think of can be a hole-in-one prize. If you have a group of golfers that loves wine, build your hole-in-one prize around that.
I love it. Now, I'm Tiger's biggest fan. He's watching. Be very careful how you answer this. Do you think he breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
I'd love to see him do it. I think it'd be great. He's got a chance at breaking Jack's record for winning the most majors. He has zero chance at breaking Jack's record for the most designed golf courses.
Oh, I haven't even stopped designing golf courses. It doesn't even excite me. Like, I live 2 hours from his restaurant and I haven't even been. Like, no, focus on winning freaking golf tournaments. Don't make food and build courses that nobody's heard of and don't even know where they are.
Yeah, he's got. You got that. What is it? Blue Jack National down in Texas.
Yeah, Texas. When I moved from Arizona to Naples, it took us 2 days. We stayed in Texas twice. It's too big. I'm over it. Win tournaments. Don't design golf courses. Maybe design them later when you're done. Right now, focus on making birdies.
But if you have a chance, Google the Hole-in-One Blue Jack National.
Were you there?
No. I wish I was. When they opened up it's a par 3 course at Blue Jack National.
Oh, yeah, the kid made the hole-in-one like on the first swing, right?
Right in front of Tiger Woods. That was just amazing. I've watched it probably 20, 25 times. Every single time it gives me chills. See Tiger just pumped behind him, pick him up, give him a high five.
That's awesome. So you didn't say yes or no. I mean, you want to, but
yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good answer.
Yes. 4 majors. I think he can do it.
4 ties it. He's got to break
every single time he's at the Masters, he has a chance. He's got Pebble Beach this year, the U.S. Open. He did really good there last time.
He did. He plays there well.
Yeah. So you never know. I think that there are a lot of good golfers out there. When they were talking about who's going to make it to 10 majors, they brought up Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, Jordan.
Brooks is hurt. He just got hurt last week. He was holding his back, and he's done.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good golfers out there, so it does make it a little more difficult. They look at the most untouchable record in golf, Byron Nelson winning 11 straight tournaments, and nobody wants that. That's so good. This is ridiculous. And at that time, Byron Nelson was trying to raise money to buy a farm. And when he won the 11th tournament, he had enough money. And when he went to the 12th tournament, he had no reason to win. He had no more drive. I don't know if Tiger has that drive still to keep winning those major tournaments. The only thing that really, I think, sticks out in his record is I want to beat Jack's record. And I don't know if you can flip that switch every 2 months.
I think to that point, the switch is the next one. He gets one more and it's done. I think he'll realize, I think the win this year, I did not see a win in 2018. He gets the win. Awesome. If he can get one major next year, I think that assuming he stays healthy for the next 5-7 years, I think he breaks the record by a couple. And, he showed that his ball striking is as good as it's ever been. He's not putting as well as he used to because he's getting older, I think, is part of it. But it's going to be a big disappointment if he doesn't break it, I think, for me as a fan. But the comeback, I'd love to see one more major. Just if he wins one more, that's fine. But don't win 3 or 4 more. You can't tie it. If you're going to tie it, break it or don't tie it.
So I told that the other day with some buddies. I said, now I bet you that if Tiger hits 18, he's going to stop and just say, hey, I'd rather just tie with Jack and be on the same plane with him.
No way.
The reaction was just crazy. I was just jabbing him, just seeing what I could get out of him.
What I hope, I do think he breaks it, and I hope that Jack is alive to see it, because it would be a shame that Jack's somewhat healthy for his age, and I just think that, you hear Jack talk about, I hope Tiger's playing well. It's got to bug him, because my whole thing is I think Tiger's the GOAT, And when I talk about it, people are like, oh, where's Jack? Jack's the GOAT. They are basing that on majors and majors alone. When Tiger Woods commits to playing in a tournament and they sell 30,000 more tickets in 24 hours, there were tournaments that didn't have 30,000 people at it when Jack was in his prime. And I know that a lot has changed with social media, yada, yada, yada. Like, Tiger is the GOAT, period. I only know what golf is because of the man. He's hanging on my wall and Jack's not. And if he doesn't break the record, and I was talking just this week, I think the wins record is as important, if not maybe more important. And I think he gets that just by showing up, right? But get that one. And I think that'll put a little less emphasis on the majors record to get the wins record. And he wants it. He wouldn't be out there if he wasn't trying to break that record, because once he gets, if he doesn't win another tournament besides majors, he gets the wins record. But if he breaks that record, but once he gets it, he can just say, I'm out, and just fade off into the sunset and go design golf courses.
So you don't think he'll play any tournaments on the Champions Tour?
I don't know if he even knows what the Champions Tour is. No, he will not be an honorary starter at Augusta when he's 75. He will not. No. And I honestly think what's going to happen is he's already been doing it with his Tiger Woods Foundation and TGR, the company, and having all these different brands aligning under one organization. When he finally gets to the end of his career, we'll never see him. He'll go away. He's got all these different ventures. He's got the foundation trying to raise money. I think that when he's done, he'll be done, and he'll just fade off into the sunset. And I think that'll be the best. I need coffee with him. I need 20 minutes with the guy. Like, that's all I need.
I'll start playing golf with Anthony Kim.
Maybe. Where is Anthony Kim? My goodness.
Exactly.
And your final question of your hashtag Wednesday Match Play. First off, thanks for coming on the show, man. This has been awesome. You and I spent quite a bit of time together at the Troon Cup, and it's just fun to be able to basically just automatically to reconnect right here on this show. But your final question of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is, what's next? What do you got working on? What's coming up for you and Hole-in-One U.S.A.?
Well, right now we're kind of going into our off season. The majority of the United States is getting the colder weather. It was 31 degrees when I woke up this morning here in Reno. Haven't got any snow. I'm sure it's right around the corner.
88 here.
But yeah, we got the starting to plan for 2019. Getting back after it. We got the PGA show coming up in January, as well as the National Automobile Dealers Association show in Orlando versus San Francisco. So we're trying to get both of those experiences in as best as possible, and then just trying to keep on bringing excitement to as many tournaments as possible. That's the one thing that I don't think that when we talk about hole-in-one insurance. That's why my boss said that one of his early clients called it feel-good insurance, because it's not the insurance you have to worry about when you crash a car or when you get sick. It's you hit a hole-in-one. It's pretty darn cool. And everyone who calls us to try and report a claim and claim their hole-in-one coverage, they're all super excited. Wait, there's a hole-in-one at our event. It's great, And you get that big check out there to present it to them.
It'd have to be a big check. No way I'm taking a small check. Gotta be Gilmore style.
But yeah, no, it's an excitement experience, even if there's not a hole-in-one made. You say you've had almost 7 hole-in-ones. If you do that at an event where there's a hole-in-one on that hole, it just adds so much more excitement to it, and everyone's talking about it after the round. That's what I always like. It's that one shot in golf that keeps people coming back. I always say that. And when it's almost a hole-in-one, that just is so much excitement, and you get a buzz of people talking about it after the round. And the main point of having a hole-in-one at a charity golf event is to get that buzz and to keep them talking about it after they leave the event and sign up again the next year. We usually say that a hole-in-one contest will raise participation anywhere from 10 to 15% year after year. So if you have a charity event that you're just starting, early, try to get a hole-in-one sponsor. Get the hole-in-one out there, because it's going to get people talking about your event. Especially in June, we do over 1,000 events in the month of June alone. It's the busiest month of the year. And with that many events going on, how are you going to differentiate your event versus the event coming up the next weekend? Because someone's not going to play every single weekend in charity events. They're going to choose one, maybe two. So they want to choose yours, so have something really cool for them to play for and win.
That is awesome.
19th major.
It's going to happen. You wait. I'm going to call you as soon as it happens. I've got about 40 people I got to call, so you'll be on that list. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is awesome. I just love the conversation. I look forward to getting 3 shots aside the next time you're in Naples, and I'll make sure you play the tips. I'll play a couple up because I'm sure you hit the ball a long way. You're taller than me, but that's okay. Everybody watching at home, if you haven't clicked on the subscribe button down below, this episode will be easy to find. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be all over the place. It'll be on iTunes and Google Play and a podcast. If you don't want to look at us, you can just listen to us. That's fine too. Subscribe there as well. It'll be out on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., just like it is every week. And we're getting close to the end of season 3. We have a couple of more guests coming up. The season finale is a big one, but I can't tell you who it is, but it's going to be a good one. So look out for the season finale coming up in 2 short weeks. Thank you so much, Andrew, for coming on the show. And as always, on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.